Hey, today I'm going to talk about titrations. A titration is when you neutralize an acid and base. And typically what we're going to do, and at least for this example, is I have some sodium hydroxide. And I know exactly my sodium hydroxide that I used. I used a 1 molar solution of sodium hydroxide, and I have 10 milliliters in there. And I'm going to do a titration to try to figure out my molarity, or the concentration of vinegar. So what a titration is when you take an Arrhenius acid and an Arrhenius base and you do a neutralization. So I'm going to see exactly how much vinegar it took to neutralize this. So I used some phenolphthalein in here, which is the stuff that makes it purple. You see it has a strong pink, dark fuchsia pink color. When I said purple, I meant pink. Now, you're going to look at table T on the back of your reference table. So if you haven't gotten it out, get it out now. So what I have here is the formula. Titration is the third one from the bottom. And it is MV of the acid equals MV of the base. The molarity of the acid, or the one with the hydrogen, and the molarity of the, and the volume of the acid equals the molarity and volume of the base. First things we got to do is, you can't see up here, but a burette, which is what this is very similar to a graduated cylinder. So I'm moving the acid that is in here, because this is the base, it turned pink, the sodium hydroxide. I am moving the acid through my burette. And what you notice is it might not always be perfect. So sometimes I might start at a certain volume and end at a certain volume, but it might not be 0 and 100. So what I have to do right now is I want to look at my volume of my acid. I'm starting off at 6 milliliters. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this stopcock, and I'm going to slowly release some vinegar in here, and I'm going to swirl this around until it becomes clear. And eventually, I don't want to go too fast, because there's going to become a point when it's just going to suddenly change. So I've added 1.5 milliliters, nothing changed. And there is a point that you can get it to go dropwise, and you're going to slowly swirl this, and you see it's not changing. I'm going to open it up a little, whoops, a little bit. So now it's going drop by drop, and when it changes, it'll be instantaneous. It's going slowly. Might have to open it up a little bit. See, it's starting to get lighter, which means it might be in that range. But once it changes, phenolphthalein is one of the indicators that we used to find out a neutral solution. So it's going from a darker, deeper pink, or fuchsia, into a lighter, more translucent pink. And once it becomes straight colorless, I will have noticed my change. And if you notice, it's still going, but I use a strong base, so this might take a little bit longer than I anticipated. Now as you add the acid, there will be areas that are colorless inside the solution, and there you go, it changed. So, my initial volume was 6 milliliters. My final volume was 16 milliliters, which means the volume of my acid was 10 milliliters. Now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the formulas. We're going to type in the volume, or the molarity of the acid times the volume of the acid, and then that equals the molarity of the base times the volume of the base. So in my example, 10x equals 10. X equals 1.0 molar. That is the strength of my vinegar. Or acetic acid, CH3COOH, also known as ethanoic acid. All right? Now, there is a slight problem when you change the number of H's. So if I'm going to, this is 1 mole of hydrogen ions. So 1 molar, 1.0 molar, 1.0 molar solution equals 1 mole of H plus per liter. Now if I had something different like H2SO4, and I had 1.0 molar of that, that's actually 1 molar or 1 mole of H2SO4. But I actually have 2 H's in that. So I'm going to have to take my final answer and divide that by 2 if I use a different acid. They sometimes will ask you questions like this on the Regents. I'm going to have some questions like this in the practice problems, but for our, the practice worksheets. But for our practice problem right now, I'm going to give you an easy one. So look over here. All right? See you guys later.